Well, we could say our beloved conference format playoffs is back. Could we say the NHL might eventually go back to that? Or is it just in this case here, because I do understand the divisional format, but the NHL when it comes to promoting divisional rivalries and to bring more certainty on what the next series is. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel here. I'll talk more about the NHL return to play plan updates here, mostly in this video. We'll talk about the playoff format that has been finalized on the return to play plan here, with the 24 teams that are going to some tournament city, 2 hub cities when it comes to the return to play here, but they were still haven't decided on how the playoffs are going to go here. How it's still going to happen is that the top 4 teams in the respective conferences here do still have a bye and will be going on to the first round of the official playoffs here, and they're still going to play in a round robin tournament to decide who's going to get those seeds here. And I could throw up some other questions here as well, given the unique circumstances here caused from this global pandemic with COVID-19 or coronavirus here. Will seeding actually matter? And will home ice actually matter when it comes to, obviously one team's going to be declared the home and one team's going to be officially declared away on what jerseys to wear and who gets the last change here. But after that, is home ice really going to be an advantage here? Because especially when there's in a neutral arena, even if it's the home team that happens to be in that home city, I think home ice and seeding is going to be tossed out the window this year, which is going to make these playoffs even more interesting here. So getting back to that, because Boston officially gets awarded the President's Trophy for the best record in the regular season here, but Boston could still potentially not have the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference here. But they'll still get the weight on if there's a tie in this round robin here, and they'll still be playing on regular season rules, where they play a full game. If it's tied, then they play a 5-minute 3-on-3 overtime, and then a shootout to break the tie here. But the points percentage will decide to break the tie to seed the teams in the top 4 here. And then when it comes to everybody else, the 5, 12, 6, 11, 7, 10, 8, 9, it will still be a best of 5. And it will be under playoff rules here. So that's where you get to throw the debate where the official playoffs is. And obviously the winners of that series will get to move on into the round of 16 for the official playoffs here. But the seeds definitely probably throw a clue here that the playoffs won't be bracketed. It's going to be the good old conference format here. And as a hockey fan myself, I personally like the conference format a lot more, because it seems more fair that if by chance, if you have 2 strong teams that are at the top in the conference series, but they just happen to be in the same division here, latest that they can meet would be in the second round, where I think it would have been better if it was in the third round here. This unfairness in a way still came back in the 80s here, because, the Calgary Flames, we had pretty good teams in the 80s here. The MTOers, with their team even more stacked with Hall of Famers here, we were in the same division as the Edmonton Oilers here, where we happened to be playing them in the second round, and then whoever wins the other series in the Summit division will get the nice, surprise of playing one of those 2 teams in the next round here. While in the Norris division, because it used to be the Campbell Conference, which at that time was much weaker here, a Smythe division team could have won that division here and might have avoided the powerhouses till the third round here. And then, even we have this debate here, but I know the hockey guy still shows like both formats here, and he said it wouldn't change that much. But I still personally like the conference format a lot better here, in case, let's say you could have, Vegas and Colorado play, in the conference championship, and not potentially, or I should say Dallas and Colorado play in the conference championship instead of the second round. That's my take here. But then you do lose the who you're going to play in the next round here is divisional, where you kind of know ahead of time here, and then of course the TV networks can promote it here. But that's my opinion. But it's definitely going to be the conference format here. I mean, travel's going to be thrown out the window too, because you're going to have everybody in one hub city here. And of course, this all goes back to playing it as safe as possible here. And I think ultimately the hub cities will be selected will have to be a place where case levels are the lowest here. And then you got to throw in the recent events with some civil unrest too and protests. And I'll just leave it at that, as this is a sports video, not talking about other things here. But the good old conference format will be back here, where everyone will get reseeded after every round here, and the 4 series will all be best of 7 here, because there still was a possibility that the first 2 rounds could have been a best of 5. They were still committed to having the conference championship and the Stanley Cup final, the best of 7 here, but we don't know exact dates yet. And hockey's going to come back here. In the NBA, they will be coming back at the end of July here, and I personally think that's when the NHL at earliest will be coming back to play the playoffs here. That Stanley will not likely get rewarded until the end of September here. When you think if you're going to have a best of 5 and the round robin, that's going to be, a week, let's just say, to play that to decide who's in the round of 16 here. And assuming they pace it out the same, it's going to be a couple weeks for each round, assuming it goes all the way here, that it's going to be at least until late September. Let's say if the Stanley Cup Finals go all 7 games, that Stanley's rewarded, and then, the draft, I'm going to set free agency, will happen until October here, and then there's still debate on when they're going to start the next season, 2020-21 year. I mean, the NBA, going back to them, they're committed to starting their next season in December here. There's even word that maybe the NHL might wait until New Year's Day for the Winter Classic. But we're obviously going to need, because they obviously want to push it back as far as possible. Hopefully maybe fans will be back in the game here. And depending on what source and where you believe, maybe. But you got to wonder, is it going to be an all or nothing, or precautions be made, obviously, if fans were allowed to go to the game. Social distancing is still going to have to be in, but it'd be interesting how they manage that. But getting back into concluding this season here, do you like this conference format better than the divisional format? I personally think I do. Could the NHL consider doing this again going forward? Even though if you're players or coaches, you would throw out who do you prepare for? But I think that's no different than let's say going down the stretch with players, races tight, where you could still look at, you still have 3 games left in the regular season. And you're like, well, we could still potentially play these 4 teams, and if we play those 2 teams, that means we got to go on the road. Or if we get to play these 2 teams, we get to stay at home. So I think that's no different. I just think when it comes to dispersing out the talent, potentially, that I would like to see the top teams play potentially in the 3rd round instead of the 2nd round here for a right to go to the Stanley Cup Final. But I could see, promoting the divisional rival, let's say Battle of Alberta in the 2nd round like it was back in the 80s here. Where realistically, that would have been a 3rd round matchup if it came down to the conference format. Or if they still had the 1 through 16. The Flames and Oilers could have potentially played for the Stanley Cup. But then it also comes down to travel too, and I mean, that's where you get those other pushbacks. You got to draw the line somewhere. But this will be the year, since everyone's in the same place. But that's my take on it. And when I'm looking at the Flames here, I think we're going to be in tough to get out of the 1st round, to be honest with you, regardless how it plays out. I think we're going to need all 5 games, and possibly overtime, in the play-in series against the Winnipeg Jets here. And also the fact that I won't be previewing that play-in series until closer to when it happens here. So that'll be episode 15 of season 2 of my Calgary Flames game, because I did decide to release episode 14 just to recap, the rest of the season and kind of put a bow on the season. But I think Calgary, whether you match up with Winnipeg, I could see it take all 5 games and possibly overtime here. But if you're looking at the top 4, because those are going to be the teams that will likely play here, either St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, or Dallas here. I definitely think that we'd definitely be better off playing Dallas or Vegas in the first round if it works out that way. But also the fact, let's say if Chicago beats Edmonton there, then Chicago knows they'll be playing whoever the number one seed is too. So I still think Calgary could be in tough if we play one of those four teams, but who the heck knows? Or maybe it might work out. We will get that Battle of Alberta too, but a lot would have to happen. There would have to be some upsets, and we would have to, obviously, both teams would have to get out of the play-in. But let's just say the good old conference format is back here, and there's still speculation on timelines. I mean, Phase 2 apparently is going to start on June 8th here. And Phase 2 is still voluntary on players being able to go back to their practice facilities here, and it's still restricted to 6 players on ice at one time. They'll be divided in groups, and then goalies could still come on, and they can bring their own coach. It can't be someone with associated team, because coaches are still not going to be allowed to be on the ice with the groups yet. So this is all voluntary. Phase 3, as we know, still won't happen until July 10th, and that's when full pre-training camps would start, just to get everyone back into game shape and get ready to get at it here. You still almost got to wonder, is there still going to be some exhibition? Because I still think it might be a little bit of risking. I mean, there's obviously risk involved, not just with the with the COVID-19 here, but just players, haven't been playing for over 3 months, 4 months, when you add in July here, and then suddenly it's like, playoffs. I mean, that's a huge, switch there. I still got to wonder how they're going to do that. Or is there going to be an exhibition, or, it's not going to be till at least the end of July that hockey will be back to get into the playoffs here, and then obviously a couple months here. But that still be remains to see, and I still plan to make future videos on that here. So as I say here, do you like the conference format, or do you still like the divisional format? And then what do you think of the home ice and seeding? Is it really going to matter under these circumstances here? So as I say here, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, home to Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders here, I mostly talk Calgary and sports on my channel here. I also do personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and I also do share my experiences. Let's say I'm on the road or at a sporting event here, so if that all sounds like you'd be interested to watch, do follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey. You know what you need to do, and I also have my other social media links down in the description below there. So if I say here, go Flames go. I still think it's going to be a couple months before hockey will be back here, assuming everything is all working out to be safe as possible, and the government and the health authorities approve it here, and wherever they decide to play these said games. And the fact that so far what I've seen, I haven't heard anything about outbreaks happening in other leagues that have been playing overseas here, so there's still some stuff to look forward to here, and eventually recap games here, but we'll still have to wait and speculate here. So as I say, I'll see you in the next video here.